Today, from this corner, we're going to touch on two of the most popular breeds in the country, Namibia, as per se. These are breeds that have literally revolutionized the agricultural sector in Namibia, which is the German Simmentaler, but we say Namibian Simmentaler and the Namibian Brahman. Brahman versus Simmentaler, which is better. So I'm going to touch on the positives. We're going to touch on everything. I'm going to try and touch on on a lot of points here. Firstly, this breed is about 100 years now in Namibia. I think it arrived with the first German settlers. It has to be now 100 plus. This, if I'm not mistaken, has to be now, actually, I think 2020 has made it 100 years in this country. Both are widely popular breeds. These two breeds are the foundation breed that has been used to develop my favorite breed, one of the breeds that I'm very passionate about, the Simmentaler, which was crossed between a Simmentaler and a Brahman. But now we're going to talk about them individually. The Brahman, let's start off with Brahman. The Brahman being a composite breed, it's crossed out of 3-4 breeds, Brazilian, Indian, Mexican. They crossed to create the American Brahman, which we call today the Brahman red and white. The Simmentaler was also crossed, but this was done years ago to develop. I think it was crossed out of a beef breed, from a beef breed and a dairy breed, to develop what we have today and what it's called the Simmentaler in the area where it's called. It's actually named after a place in, I believe it's in the Austrian mountains, or a river in Austria, if I'm not mistaken. So those two breeds have really left a mark on the Namibian cattle breeding industry. But every day you hear from small-scale farmers, communal land farmers, even commercial farmers, they ask Brahman versus Simmentaler, which is better. So I'm going to touch on it. The Brahman, of course, is a beef breed. It's a hardy breed. It was developed and bred to be able to adjust and adapt in harsh conditions. It is a breed that can work, can almost not say work, let me say it can fit in almost most climate conditions, most environments, most type of grazing conditions. While on the other hand, the European breed, which is the Simmentaler, the fact that it's European, I think the downfall of it is that it doesn't adjust quite as well in certain grazing and climatic conditions. It takes a bit more time. The problem they had was, in the past, the Simmentaler was a bit too big, a bit more too fleshy and too big boned to crossbreed with indigenous cattle. Because sometimes you'd have situations where the cows were either born too big and the indigenous cow, which might be Nguni or Sanga, couldn't really give birth properly. And sometimes you'd have birthing problems. So then with the Brahman here, it's big, but its calves are born very small. Meaning the indigenous cow you put the Brahman on is able to give birth to this calf without any medical assistance or without any human assistance. The calves are born very small and grow up very quick. And then it comes to things such as which has better mothering abilities. Brahman cattle, once they've calved, become extremely aggressive. Aggressive in terms of they're very protective of their calves. You can't come close to the calf. You as the owner of the cattle can't even enter the kraal where there are Brahman with calves. It'll run you over and it might break a rib. With the Simmentaler, it's very docile. It also is protective, but it's very docile towards humans. It's quite rare that you would see a Simmentaler chase a person over the fence because of a calf, unless you did something bad to that calf. But they're actually very, farmer friendly, user friendly. When it comes to things like milking ability, comparing the two, the Simmentaler beats it. The Simmentaler beats the Brahman. It produces enough milk. It produces a lot of milk, actually. Not enough, a lot of milk. I think it produces, the figures just slip my mind, but it produces more milk than the Brahman. In cases where I've found with both of them, I've seen with Simmentaler type cattle, you don't really need to worry about buying powdered milk to feed your calves. While with Brahman type cattle, you sometimes have to buy powdered milk to feed your cows because the cow doesn't produce that much milk. It might produce enough milk to raise its calf, but you as the farmer, you'll not be able to milk it to get an extra bucket or two for yourself, for your own consumption. It's usually a big issue with that. As I said, ticks. Let's talk about ticks. Brahmans most of the time are smooth coated cattle, meaning the coat is very smooth. You can see the muscles defined brilliantly through the coat of the Brahman. The Simmentaler, because of the European ancestry and because of where it was developed in the countries it comes out of, these are countries that have very cold winters, terrible cold winters whereby the breeds have to grow an extra fur coat. which means they would grow more. They would be much more hairier than your Brahman, which would mean they're more ticks. They would have more ticks on them, meaning you would have to spend more dipping a Simmentaler and using tick grease on it than you would on a Brahman for ticks. When it comes to other diseases, they are right about the same. They perform quite right about the same. I haven't really seen a difference when it comes to diseases. I believe as long as you take care of both of them, they perform well. Drought seasons, which cattle perform very well? I have heard the rumors. I have heard the conversations that have been had where people would say that Brahman performs better in drought conditions compared to a Simmentaler. And I have done my own studies. I have seen it also in some Simmentaler cattle. They do not adjust that well to dry, harsh conditions, such as a season of prolonged drought. They do not adapt that well. You might have to spend a bit more feeding them. The Brahman sometimes adjusts a bit better because of its ability to switch from grazing grass to browsing, and that makes it being able to perform a bit better in those conditions. And that could be one of the reasons why it's so popular with a lot of communal land farmers, as I said, with a lot of communal land farmers. But I believe it all comes down to maintenance as a farmer. If you do good maintenance on whatever breed of cattle it is you have, whether it's the German Simmentaler or the American Brahman, you would not really experience situations of the breed is really performing terrible in drought. The Simmentaler, another criticism of them over the years was the fact that they would develop eye cancers, but the society has worked towards making sure that the breed is bred with pigmentation on the eyes, making sure that it has brown pigmentation around the eyes to prevent sun type of diseases like eye cancers, cataracts, and so forth. They have worked towards that. Another argument people have put aside to the Brahman and Simmentaler, they've said the Brahman can walk longer distance compared to the Simmentaler. Yes, it was a problem in the past because Simmentaler hooves weren't developed to really walk in rocky, harsh areas, but this has been improved because on a friend of mine's farm, Stefan Fuchs, the owner of Fuchsland, his bulls walk about 5Ks daily for grazing. So they have improved on them. So if you ask me which is better, I would say it depends what type of farming you're trying to do. If you're trying to produce heavy winning calves that are heavy and that would really make you win a winning award or get you an award at the slaughtering competitions, you go Simmentaler. If you want hardy, good-looking cattle, you go Brahman. Simmentaler are good-looking, but Brahman are beautiful. Let's not like they're beautiful cattle. These are beautiful cattle to look at, particularly with their long ears. If you want to go hardy, easy adaptable cattle, you go Brahman because of, as I said, because of the countries they were developed in. They were bred in the United States of America, in Texas, I believe. That's where they came from. And in Texas, some of the Texas conditions, some it's very green, some it's very dry, very arid. So those animals were developed for that. With the Simmentaler, for example, because, and I keep on going back, because of its European descent, the European genetics, the European origination where it comes from, it was more developed for wet, green areas. So, as I said, hardy, dry, harsh areas, you go Brahman. With feeding, you would feed, but very minimum. If you want to go Simmentaler, you can try them. Nowadays, as I've said, the societies, the breeders have improved them. They've improved them now that you can farm them anyway. They perform as good as a 4x4, as good as a Land Cruiser now. They perform anyway. If none of them tickle your fancy because of things like temperament, which the Brahman has, very docile breed, Simmentaler, easy to work with, very, very easy to work with. I think when the Simmentaler calves, you can still enter the crawler, you can approach the cow, but with the Brahman, it's the total opposite, you get chased. If none of them tickle your fancy, you can breed what I love, the Simbra, the crossbreed between the two of them. But as I said, which breed is better? It all comes down to the type of farming. If you want to produce heavy, winning calves, you want to produce slaughter oxen, you want to produce cattle, you want to produce cattle that will produce sufficient, not sufficient, but to produce enough, a lot of milk, not really going to the dairy breeds, you go Simmentaler. If you want to produce an easy breeding, an easy calving breed of cattle, that is easy calving, that is easy adapting to various conditions, doesn't matter which part of the country you take it, you'd go Brahman. But when you go Brahman, you lose on things like milking abilities and so forth. But if you want to go for crossbreeding programs, most of the time in crossbreeding programs, you take Brahman cattle. That's what you work with because of the small cows born small, then they grow very quick, and that is an added bonus. Winning cows also produce very good winning weights, but compared to the king of meat here, the Simmentaler, the Simmentaler dominates in that position. If you're into steer breeding, if yours is solely meat production, you can go Brahman. But if you want very heavy winners, this is where you go with. But the thing with the benefit of the Brahman is that the calves are born small and they start growing very quick. They're both not early maturing cattle. I believe they're both late. Yeah, they're both late maturing cattle. The breed matures very late. Sexual maturity is very late. But one breed has been known to have longevity, which has been your Brahman. It has gotten very good ratings. Their bulls have gotten very good ratings. I've heard of bulls that are 11 years and are still very active. The Simmentaler negative rumor that, I believe it's a rumor, I believe this can be dumbfounded. I've heard some people telling me they have had a Simmentaler bull for about 10 years and it's still working. The negative rumor that goes on about the Simmentaler is that this bull, their males, their bulls can only continue being very productive till the age of 5. After 5 years, they're done. They can't work anymore. But I have visited studs, I've visited farms where you get Simmentaler bulls that are even 10 years and are still producing calves, the same way they've been producing since the age of 3. So, some of the things, it's a lot of urban legends, a lot of grapevines, but on facts that have been given, as I said, in the type of farming you want to do, if you're into crossbreeding, if you're into the crossbreeding business, Brahman is the way to go. Very good crossbreeding material. If you're into steers, winning weight, winners, slaughter oxen, cows that produce sufficient enough amount of milk and also produce enough milk for yourself. Because there is a breeder by the name of Mr. Simmentaler in Namibia who was talking 2-3 years ago of producing milk from his Simmentaler that he would start selling. If you want to do that, produce milk and cheese, you can go Simmentaler and meat. You see, so he does 3 things. Meat and milk, 2 things, meat and milk. It's a dual purpose breed, you go Simmentaler, if that's what you want to do. But as I said, if you are into crossbreeding and you love crossbreeding or you want to farm it pure, you can go Brahman. If you want good looking animals, Brahman. So that's my opinion as a farmer. I'm sure everybody has his or her opinion on which breed is better. But if I have to rank it, the type of farming that I want to do, I want to, of course, produce winners that are of good weight, produce oxen that are of good weight. I would go Simmentaler. That's my opinion. But if I'm going to crossbreed indigenous cattle, if I'm going to go to the Zambezi region and say, I have Caprivi Ngunis or Caprivi Sangas, I want to crossbreed. I would crossbreed them first with the Brahman. Get an F1, and then take that F1 and put it to a Simmentaler. Just to make sure that I do not have calving problems, even though the Simmentaler Society have worked on developing middle-framed cattle that aren't really too big and do not cause birthing defects. That's my 2 cents on this. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. I'll be reading your comments at the bottom of this video, and I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. Which breed do you think is better? Which breed is better, Simmentaler or Brahman? Which do you prefer? And which area do you farm in? Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, guys.